We're going to start a new project today, and I want to get you off on the right foot because the first step of this palette project is probably the hardest. So I'm going to give you a little demonstration today about how to set up the color splotch by dividing it into 12 pieces. Now your pieces don't have to be equal. We're not going to be making a perfect color wheel where the complementary colors are across from each other. That's okay. This is just going to be a reminder about particularly what colors, in what order they go in. And then also you're going to be labeling your tints and you're going to be labeling your shades. But the first step, dividing it into 12, often gives people quite a bit of trouble. So you should have this in the supplies that I gave you at the beginning of the school year that you probably came and picked up. When it is done, it's going to look something like this. And so this is the piece that we're working on right now. And so I'll let you get up close and personal to mine. And I've included a picture for you of this on the Google Classroom. So you can see that my pieces are not perfectly equal. That is totally fine for this. It's not a circle. It's not going to divide up completely equally. And some of it's even covered by the brush. So this is just a fun little reminder to help you sort of hang on to some terms and sort of where colors fall in what order. So I'm going to switch cameras and we're going to get started. All right. So we're looking at our palette from above, and before we do anything, there's a very first important step that we've got to take, and that deals with this right here. So remember, for any project in the art room, if you want credit on it, you got to put your name on it. I get pretty familiar with most of your work as you're doing it, but there are a lot of you and one of me. So make sure the first step of every project is to put your name on something. All right, once we've got that very important first step out of the way, now we're going to focus our attention on this splotch right here. So these are designed to look like little paint blobs, you know, just for fun. You're going to need for this a ruler or a straight edge and a pencil. Maybe an eraser. I prefer a clear ruler just so that you can see how much space left where you're dividing up. But that is up to you and what you have. You can do this without a clear ruler, but I do find it easier if you have one. But we're not doing any actual measuring, so any straight surface that you can run your pencil along will be just fine. All right. When we set up a lot of things, particularly with measuring in the art room, I like to think of spaces in terms of clocks. So the first line I'm going to have you draw is going to be up and down, or vertical is the more appropriate term. And so we've split the space in, and I'm going to use air quotes, half, because it's not actually half, right? We're not dealing with an equal space because it's got this blob over here. So this is why some of our pieces are going to be different sizes, and that is perfectly fine. But I want you to pick a point on this vertical line to become your axis. And I'm going to pick a spot right about there where the brush meets. You can pick whatever spot you want, really, but what I'm going to use this for is to sort of think about rotating this along that dot as I make my lines, just so that it divides evenly from the center outward. What it does past there doesn't matter. All right, so now the space is in two. Now I want to split it again. So I'm going to turn this, and I'm going to pay attention to the space I'm creating, if I'm getting enough space here, too much space here, and just make little adjustments until I'm happy with the size of each piece. Keeping in mind, of course, that I've got to divide this into 12 spaces, so I don't want to run out of room at the end. And that looks kind of pretty okay to me. So I'm going to go ahead and do this space this way. And make sure you're taking it all the way out to the edge. So I think I forgot to mention, but I've already divided this space into 3 circles. This inner space is going to become your tint section. This is, we're just gonna kind of think of this as normal colors. And then the band on the outside is going to be for your shadows. So I'll talk more about that when we get to the colors, but I just wanted to let you know that you should run your lines all the way to the outside edge of this splotch. All right, so I've created that first one. Now I'm going to rotate this way and try to create a space of similar proportions on the other side of the one I just made. And this will help me keep things balanced by going back and forth around this point on this axis line. I can use sort of my best eye judgment to guess if I'm making my spaces about even. And you know what? I think I'm going to change my axis point because I don't like it. I'm going to move it down to here. Because if I run it down that way, it looks like it gives me a little bit better. So we're so early in this process, it doesn't matter, but you wouldn't want to change it later on. Things will get wonky. Now notice that the brush is going to start interfering with how I'm drawing, and there's going to be some colors that may get sort of blocked out that I'm not going to see. For example, I may not see the tints that fall in the section that are going to fall under the brush, and that's all right. Again, this is just a tool that we're creating to remind you of what I've already taught you, so you can use it as a reference. Now I'm going to swing back the other way and start creating spaces this way. And maybe we should stop and do a count and see how many spaces I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And the brush sort of interferes here. So that's still technically 8. All right, so I've got 8 and I need 12, so I need to divide it some more. So let's go here. So notice these are getting very long and these are short. That's okay. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm counting that even though I haven't drawn it yet. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Perfect. So this is the last line I need to make. I'm going to split that there, which means this falls under the brush. So I'm going to imagine each space on either side of the brush as its own separate entity with the brush as the divider. So let's double check, always double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Perfect. We're ready to start coloring. That's all for now. I hope that made that process a little bit easier for you to visualize. It's very hard to sometimes follow written directions if you don't have a visual clue. So don't be afraid to use that eraser if you make a mistake. It's no big deal. And just go lightly on your pencil to help make those potential mistakes a little easier to erase. So wait for directions before you start coloring, and let me know that you're all finished. See you soon.